Hello everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. I am leaving the office a little later than usual. I've been at it since 4-something this morning, and I'm actually not done yet. But I had to leave, got to finish working from home, so I'll be in the home office. Look, I'm dropping in on you for a couple of things. First, and up front, as you know, I have mentioned on most of my videos for the Black Voice channel that we are in the middle of a fundraiser for the organization in general, but specifically for the work we're doing with Black Men Lead and in the community. I just posted a video with specifics about what this fundraiser is about and what the funds will be used for. So if you want to watch a more detailed explanation of why this is so important, we're trying to raise $25,000 before the end of the month. And that's low-end necessity. That's not everything covered. That it takes, I don't think people really understand the massive cost of running an organization and the toll it takes as far as tapping resources. But anyway, the goal is to raise $25,000. This is going to be used on computers, books, training material, also training providers as far as doing interventions, doing training and all of that. Also for one-on-one interventions, I get at least one a day of someone being referred to me who is dealing with an issue that needs my expertise, that needs one-on-one individuals, predominantly Black mothers bringing in Black sons. But a lot of times it's Black women dealing with domestic abuse issues, dealing with childhood trauma issues. All of these things come in, and I don't have a habit of turning people away. So then it becomes this backlog of how can I get it done? Because I still have a company to run. I still have a family to feed. So there's a lot to go on with that, but that's not it. Also, we have a part of the Rites of Passage program is proper socialization, which reduces the proclivity for violence in the community, which is another thing. We're going to actually be bringing to you a mother who lost her grandson, I think in 2019 or 2020. She lost her grandson to violence in Ferguson, which is extremely important because Ferguson has Kim Gardner, and you know St. Louis has Wesley Bell. All came in and ran on that they were going to tighten things up. Kim Gardner and Wesley Bell was supposed to be going after Darren Wilson, who's the cop that shot Mike Brown. That never happened, never materialized. Well, not only that, they're not doing what they need to do to clean up the community and stop the violence. And this beautiful mother, whose name is Stephanie Covington, will be on the Teacher Show coming this Saturday. And she's going to be talking about how her son was ambushed. He set up a sale for a designer bag on, I think, Facebook. One of the social media platforms, met with the guys. They tried to gank him. He, told them they were full of it, and they shot him and killed him, shot him multiple times and killed him for the bag and whatever money he had on him. They found the guy and had him, but Kim Gardner said the case was circumstantial, didn't want to take it to trial, didn't want to do whatever, so they had to release him, so they had to let him go. So the family got no closure. I'm not real big on that term, but they didn't get justice for sure. Okay, so she wants to talk about that, and what she did is, and I'll actually be working with her because she's dealing with the trauma and the grief, so I'm actually going to be working with her in addition to what I'm going to do to try to support what she's doing, because what she did to help deal with the grief is she started the process of developing an app that's going to be named after him, that will be for people who are in the process of grief, because she said one of the hardest things for her was waking up sometimes and crying and just being totally overwhelmed and not having anyone to talk to, not having anyone to reach out to. And so this app is going to be where people who are grieving can gather together and become a unified, universal support group. I think it's an awesome idea. And so we're going to have her talk about that, you know, the story of her son, what's going on in Ferguson, which is a big deal between me and some of my colleagues, because a couple of them are planted in Ferguson. You probably remember Darren Seals. Well, Darren Seals' ace is Nyota Yura, who is the brilliant mind behind Alt Black News and the up and coming Alt Black media, which I'm a part of both. And so we work closely, and so she brought this lady to me. And so I get this all the time, though. I mean, from the East Coast to the West Coast, I get referred people who are going through things and they believe I can help them, and I can, but it takes resources. It can't just be me saying, okay, good, and going, and that's not realistic. It just simply is. I could go into a million ways of explaining why that's not realistic, but I think anyone who understands how things operate understands that, you know, especially when it's operating completely on my dime. You know, we've been talking about a fundraiser, but I mean, maybe $100 in the last 3 months or something like that. And, you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't care if a person gives a penny, it means something to me. So I'm not talking about the smaller, I'm talking about that doesn't cover even we're close to anything. I mean, we use far more than $100 a day, far more than $100 a day. So, but the thing is, it's time for support. It's time for the community to join in. It's time for the community to become a resource. There are people out there who actually need us. Gathering on YouTube and talking about issues means absolutely nothing if you're not planning in the community, carrying out some type of protocol, some type of plan. That's been my goal from day one. Is yes, I want to teach, I want to talk about it. These books that I've written, the research that I've done, the use of my expertise to produce solutions and come up with ideas and blueprints is all leading to actually applying this stuff in the community. We've been talking about plans against recidivism forever. That's a part of what this program does. You know, so we're talking about fighting mass incarceration by prevention on the front end and reducing the recidivism rate. Do you realize that 75% of offenders that are released from prison will return within 3 years? 75%. Do you realize that although we only make up 13.7% of the population, that the prison population is 40% black? The male prison population is 40% black. Do you realize if we're sending 75% of those back, plus the new offenders, that we could study increase this number that we talk about a lot but don't understand, the 1.5 million missing men in the black community? And we wonder why young black males are where they are, because the greatest influence on developing into strong black men is seeing strong black manhood modeled. And when you have an absence of men, you have an absence of modeling. You don't have a specific goal. Another thing that we talked about that is extremely huge is building a network of a universalized idea of proper socialization, which is normally done in what is known as a rite of passage. Almost every successful group has some form of a rite of passage. Probably the most popular and the most effective, if you want to be honest about it, is the bar mitzvah. It is the bar mitzvah is simply actually the celebration of the ending of the first stage of the rite of passage, where you transfer into manhood. But there is a universal way that that's taught. There's a universal way of socializing Jewish boys, and whether you're Hasidic or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these universal processes are the same. And so we're working now on creating that universal process, that rite of passage that we know all young black males will go through, so that they can be properly prepared to deal with it. We know for a fact, I've done the research, that when a young black male has been properly racially socialized into their manhood, They are less likely to commit criminal acts. They're less likely to be violent. They're less likely to end up in prison. They're also more likely to be successful in society, successful in business, successful financially, and successful in leading homes. These are the real true facts. These are data supported heavily. And so what we know is these programs work. But what we need to do is put these programs into motion. They have to be implemented on a much higher scale for them to have an impact. A kid here and there is not going to do it. Yeah, it'll do it for that kid, and that's great. That kid's got a chance. That's one more kid that won't be a part of the system. But if we're going to ever empower ourselves as a collective people, we got to think collectively, we got to act collectively, we got to move collectively. That's something we're not doing. We can get together and we have some unbelievable minds. I love the people on my channel because they know their stuff. They have sharp minds. They're critical thinkers. The people on my channel are not the people that will normally get caught up in the things, but that makes you ideally the people that have to wake up and say, okay, I'm going to invest in this. You're sharp enough or smart enough to know. We can't keep going the way we're going. We can't keep hoping and wishing. We can't keep asking a white establishment to act on black issues. We can't keep thinking that politically we're going to do something that's going to change things. We're showing you that when we're going to talk about that, what's going on in Ferguson and St. Louis, and I can tell you across a bunch of other places, again, because I get all these freaking calls. I get all these emails. I mean, this is outside of me running a business that supports my family and this organization. I am the sole supporter. Outside of a couple of people here and there, that's it. And so when I get these phone calls, like, you know, man, Ferguson, man, Neota and I have these conversations. And Ferguson, the whole setup is a joke. They literally moved in, and Darren Seals tried to warn us. Darren Seals was telling us that don't associate his name with Black Lives Matter, that they were grifters, that they were coming in and they were literally hijacking a grassroots, organic, true, authentic movement to monetize it. And that's exactly what they did. And then they left that city in shambles with no leadership, with no one that will hold political leaders to the flame, and left. They're living in $1 million homes. They're setting up real estate portfolios now off of money that they raised off of the name and the blood of Mike Brown. Let's get this straight. They came in and they created this, and they show up, and this is something that Stephanie Covington, this grandmother that you'll meet on Saturday, that's something that she constantly says, is that don't tell me anything about Black Lives Matter. And she definitely doesn't like Black Lives Matter, the organization, but she doesn't even like the conversation because she says that the way she sees it based on her experience, not just with her grandson, but what she's watching and seeing on a regular basis, she's saying that Black lives only matter when when white cops kill a black kid, because when kids are killing each other in the hood, it goes unnoticed, it goes unaddressed, it goes, you know, people are losing kids because these kids don't have a sense of identity, don't have a sense of purpose, don't have a sense of awareness, and it's easy just to blame the kid, right? You know, these young, and to me, a kid is anybody under 25. You ain't lived yet. You don't know what's going on. And if you've not had anybody to model manhood, anybody to hold you accountable, you just out there winging it. And you out there winging it on a street code that doesn't pay. A street code that's guaranteeing you death or imprisonment, and then you're taking the innocent down with you. And we're sitting around and we're acting like it's not happening. We're sitting around and we want to just treat it as numbers. No, every time you hear a kid die, there's a mom, there's a dad, there's a grandparent, there are siblings, there are cousins that are going to suffer for an infinite amount of time because of that loss. There's a community that's going to live in an increased level of fear. There is an entire dynamic of a traumatic ecosystem that's going to continue to perpetuate itself because we're not taking action. Because it's easier to sit up and say, well, it's not my responsibility. Easier to sit up and say, I don't know what's going on with that. It's easy to sit up and say, I don't know what's going on with the money. Well, I can tell you this. If everybody was doing what I was doing, if everybody that's critiquing what I'm doing was doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't have to ask for help. I could go out and help 10 people, and then somebody else would go out and help 10 people, and everybody can help people within their reach, and it wouldn't be a problem. I can tell you that's not happening. You got people out here that are actually putting in the work. You need to be behind those people. There are times, I'm telling you, when I'm sitting up and I'm looking, and I parent 13 children that mostly aren't children, but still require parenting. And anybody who is a parent knows what I'm talking about. My 36-year-old is married, been married for 14 plus, almost 15 years. Husband, strong, in there, 3 kids. Her and her husband still needs dad at times. I get phone calls from her at least once a week. Got more over the age of 30, all of them calling. I got one, age of 30, at the house, going through a time regrouping. And that's what it's about. But then I got the young'uns at the house. And what am I getting? I'm saying that I'm doing this when I have to sit down and contemplate, what am I doing with my family? Am I doing everything I can to not only protect my family? Yeah, my family is going to be good, provided for, or am I doing everything to protect them? And am I doing everything I can to set them up for the future? And then I sit down, and I'll be honest with you, there are some times that I'm literally sitting there and I'm going, man, I wish I was one of those people that could just look at this and say, man, this is some bull crap, and walk away from it. There are some times I'm sitting, I'm like, look, shit, I'm gonna go crash out, get me a little crib on the beach, me and baby, and I'm gonna do me. And I can literally do that, survive and live fine. I could. But there's something in me that can't put it down. There are times I want to, because it takes so much. I've watched what happened to John Howard Clark. I watched what happened to Amos Wilson. I watched what happened to Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin. I've watched too many of these unbelievably great elders fall by the wayside and go away with nothing. And we sucked everything we had out of them. We sucked everything we had out of them. And we'll go around now posting all the memes and all the sayings they did. And they had to do GoFundMes for a lot of them. I forgot what, I think it was Amari Stoudemire paid for the funeral for Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin. That shouldn't be. Not when they giving you what they give you. I'm talking about they dropped on the, if we just listen to what they taught, they gave us the blueprint. You got another set of minds coming behind them that took it and advanced it. But you probably won't appreciate the minds that are in front of you now until they're gone. That's not how you advance a community. It's all this lecture stuff means absolutely nothing if you're not taking it and doing something with it. That's why I don't do paid lectures. Not for the black community. Now, I do paid lectures and I do speeches for my business in inspiration, motivation, life change, and all of that. But I don't go around charge nobody to come around and speak. Because when I finish speaking, they're going to shake my hand, they're going to get me to sign my book, and then they're going to go right back into their community, and they're going to do exactly what they've been doing, because they don't have the organizational mindset to take that and apply it. And I'm not out just to sit up and speak and get paid and watch people do nothing. Oh, that would be a good little hustle. But I'm not out here. Yes, I want to make sure my family's taken care of, but that if it doesn't come with me, everything I do, when I charge my clients, and my clients pay well. When I charge them what I charge them, it's because I'm giving them something of greater value, of equal or greater value than what they're paying me. They know when they pay for whatever price I'm asking them for, whatever they're asking for, they're getting way more than what they're paying for, and it makes it an easy decision. So that's what I'm talking about, going out and saying, hey, look, this is what I'm gonna do for you. Coming out and speaking to you, I don't think I'm really giving you anything. Yeah, I'm giving you knowledge. I'm giving you the knowledge of what I've spent years gathering. And that is some value. But at the same time, if I leave you in the same state, I didn't do it right. My grandfather taught me to always fill my space. I'm gonna say this and then I'll be done. My grandfather taught me to always fill my space. What does that mean? That means that whenever you walk into a room, whether it's one people in there or 100, son, when you leave, they shouldn't be the same way as you found them. Your presence should have impacted their lives in a way that they knew you were there. How you do that is going to be different in every situation. Sometimes it's just walking into a room and the way you speak to a person, the way you acknowledge a person lifts them. Sometimes you give them something you have to lift them. Sometimes you speak words of empowerment into their ears. Sometimes you challenge them to get off their ass. But whatever you do, don't leave them the same way you found them. You fill your space, son. That's what my life is about. My life is about filling my space. For every video I do, I'm spending hours putting in work. For every word I write in a book, I'm spending hours putting in work. I mean, just the research and studies it takes to know exactly how to do what I do at the level that I do it takes time, energy, effort, and it has cost me to do it. And I show up and I put in work daily. I'm taking people. And I mean, when I tell you people coming to me, people are coming to me and saying, you know what, I'm tired of my job. No, that's not the kind of people I got coming to me. I got people coming to me that have years of trauma unaddressed. And there's another woman I'm dealing with from South Carolina coming to me, and her thing is, where I'm at, there are no resources. Where I'm at, there are no resources. I need help. And she doesn't just need help for her. She definitely needs help, but she needs help for her 10-year-old son. And they're going through their own thing. I'm telling you that we have a crisis in the Black community, and we're nowhere close to actually dealing with it. I'm calling you and I'm challenging you to be a part of the solution. Help me, help the people that I'm capable of helping. And I'm going to consistently do this. We, again, are trying to raise $25,000. You want to listen to more about specifics of what we're doing and how we're doing it, you can go back to the previous video. But I'm going to be talking about this because it has to be done. You know, like I said, I go and I'm just not a person that I was just taught you can't wait on people to do things. And I was told specifically you can't wait on our people to do things. I have gotten way more energy from people in projects that I've wanted to do that didn't look like me than those that did. So I've gotten used to sitting up and knowing when I'm doing something that has to deal with my people, I'm probably going to be doing it on my dime. But now I'm sitting up and I'm saying, hey, come on. We got to come together. And like I said, if you want to know more about what we're doing, like I said, all of these instruments, equipment, and resources are things that can be put into play immediately. These young boys need this. And we're dealing with girls too. Also, a big part of it will help to provide emergency shelter for boys and girls and women who are victims of any type of abuse, who are in fear of harm or death. And that's another part of this process. And so that'll definitely be a part of things that I'm working with my wife, Marion, with restoring Ghettos Forgotten Daughters. But all of this is a part of it. Man, I didn't realize it had gotten that dark. I'm sorry, but you guys can hear me. That's what matters. All right. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great day.